Hello everyone, welcome back to Chill Deal Trades, where I analyze stocks so you know what's going on. Today we're going to cover on the technical side only of a few stocks that we've talked about quite a bit on the channel, which is TTCF, TTCF, SOFI, NNDM, Nano Dimensions, and then lastly Chargepoint, CHPT. We're going to do a technical analysis and kind of see where the prices could be headed over the next couple months. In different kind of scenarios. If you're here and you haven't hit the sub button yet, please go ahead and do that and join the squad. We're on the race to 500 subs. And then second, we also have a Discord, so that'll be in the description. Join that Discord. It's getting more active in there, and we're setting up some good trades actually on the stocks we're talking about in this video. And then lastly, every Saturday and Sunday I do a live stream on Twitch. Saturdays is a podcast about the stock market and the economy. Sunday is a live stream where we go through and do technical analysis like this. So join the Discord so that you can get notifications on those live streams. Okay, so the first stock we're going to jump into is TTCF, and we're going to do both a big picture and short term, kind of figure out where the price could be headed. So the same kind of trend, we've talked about this in the last video. Big picture, still in a downtrend. Nothing has changed there, but we did gap down recently and we're seeing a rebound. So when I say we're still in a downtrend, what we're seeing is lower highs on a big picture. So we'll have to, lower high here. We'll have to see where this thing ends up. Because if this thing comes up and ends up around here, or maybe closes the gap and then reverses lower, then we're still in a lower high scenario. We're kind of putting in somewhat of a bottom here. So it's kind of like this really large potential descending triangle. That's one way you could think of it. And so we'll have to see what happens here. If we continue to see strength in the big picture, we see RSI get over 50. That's the indicator I always say on big picture. Get above 50, come back and test and stay up here. And we'll continue to see this price break out. And if we get above this range, then that's really bullish, as we could see a more macro change for this stock. MACD still negative. It is curling up a little bit, which is where we're getting this positive momentum. But when we look at the details, we did hit the 20 EMA today. As I say in all the videos, 20 EMA is a momentum indicator. So when we're going down, we come up and tag it and we reverse, that shows we're in a downtrend. But here we'll have to see if we tag this, maybe come back to this past point where we couldn't break out, which is around 1740. And if we reverse back over there and break above the 20 EMA, we could see a push to that gap fill. We'll just have to see how the overall markets are doing, and that'll give us some indicator on that. So now let's look at the EMAs on different time frames. So again, we said the EMA, we're touching it right now, looking for a potential breakout. We'll have to see there. We also have the top of the candle here as well. So, double top potentially on the 20 EMA and here. But if we do break that, we do have the 50 and the 100-day up around this gap fill area. So this 19 to 20 range, we have the EMAs and we have a gap fill. So if we see continuous strength, as we know, RSI is still under 50, so it does have room to push higher if it needs to. So we really want to keep an eye on that over the next couple days. It was a pretty severe move, and when we go back, let's go to the 1 hour. We're getting overbought, so we'll have to see how the stock reacts to that. It doesn't mean much because we are stair-stepping upwards on the 1 hour. But we are getting towards the overbought. So, a little pullback here, honestly, is going to be healthier than not healthy. And then, kind of stay up in that range on the 1 hour. 4 hour, we're still, just at 50. So if it wants to run, it still has room to run on the longer time frames. When we go to the 4 hour here, we're already above the 20-day. Which was at this breakout above this candle back here where we couldn't break out before. So that's bullish. And we're coming up on the 50-day right at this kind of gap, which is really big resistance. So when we go back, we see all this consolidation, this little zone. That just means that there's a lot of resistance there. So we're going to have to watch to see if we can break out of this zone or not. If we can, then we have the 100-day on the 4 hour up at 1940. Let's go back to the daily to see where those candles are. Yep, so we have the 50-day about where the 100-day is on the daily. So I would say that 1950, if we do break out of that consolidation zone, is going to be a big area as well. So that's what we're really going to want to look at for. We're seeing some similarities on the different time frames for the EMAs. Lastly, let's look at the hourly. So we're above everything on the hourly. We are overbought, so if we do come back, you know, we're going to want to hold at least the 100-day. If not, come here and test the 50 and the 20-day. Come back and test the 20 and 50-day and bounce off that. You know, we could see a break higher, so that's something we want to keep an eye on. Okay, next, let's go to SOFI. So SOFI stock is having a little bit of trouble. It is getting a little bit of positive momentum, which is good to see. Let's go to the daily first. Here, you know, we had a try of a break above the 50 on the RSI, failed there. Now we're curling back up. So we'll have to see how it responds there. You know, if we can break above 50 to 55, if not, then maybe this thing's going to curl back over and maybe can just consolidate here. Honestly, I wouldn't mind SOFI consolidating here for a while. I think that's probably going to be more healthy for the stock because similar to TTCF, you know, high, lower, high. So same scenario. We have this big downward triangle and we have kind of a bottoming pattern here. So if we do see on a more macro time frame, if we see more positivity in the stock market and SOFI, you know, maybe test that 20 MA. If we break the 20 MA, maybe fill the gap. But you know, we have a lot of resistance in this 17 to 19 range, and if we do move higher, even over into September and October, you know, it's going to be hard to change this really macro trend that's happening, as we do see the stock, you know, heading down into the bottom of that long-term triangle. So that's something we're going to keep an eye on. On the 4-hour, RSI, which is strange, is actually, I think, lower or just about the same. But again, we're in this consolidation zone. We're still below the 20 EMA, but it is right above this. So I think if we break above this area, that's a break above the 20 EMA that might push us above 50. That can be a really big positive. We are seeing the MACD start to try to show some positivity. So these are things we're going to want to look at there. On the 4-hour or 1 hour, we are above the 20 EMA, which is a positive sign, above 50 and heading to above 0. So we're really going to want to use a 4-hour and honestly the daily to really see the overall trend, but that could cause a potential squeeze that we're seeing positivity, a potential push on the 4-hour up to this 20 EMA around 1450. So on the EMAs, let's take a look at where everything's at. So like I said, daily 1530 for the 20-day, and then we have the 100-day at pretty important resistance, which is at 1650. As I mentioned, you know, we saw a lot of resistance up here for the long term, but in the short term, there's just so much consolidation here. It's going to take massive volume to break out of this. This big red candle, we're going to need big green candles. We're going to need volume to come up in this range, which is double where it's at now. We're going to need to see, you know, 30 million a day to really push it through this consolidation zone. If that big volume doesn't come in, it's more unlikely that we're going to be able to break through all these EMAs and break through all this consolidation. So it's looking a little less good than TTCF, honestly, when we look at the daily chart and the EMAs. Let's take a look at on the 4-hour what's happening. So we're pretty close to the 20-day on the 4-hour as we look at the other chart. So we're going to see a confirmation out of this consolidation zone and breaking the 20-day. And if so, there's a pretty decent move, you know, if you want to do a little couple-day swing trade. If we break above the 20-day and confirm that, the 50-day is $1 away, so you can make, you know, 10%ish, somewhere like 7% or something on that trade if we do break above this consolidation zone. And if we do get a lot of volume, you know, we could even see it push to the 100-day at 1650, which is kind of around the midpoint of that consolidation zone. So those are kind of more short-term horizons. Again, I'm not making these videos based on what I think long-term about these stocks. I only make videos on stocks that I really like in the long term, but that doesn't necessarily mean for me it's a long-term buy yet. But for the short term, these are the trends we're seeing. On the hourly, we're above the 20-day, but not quite above the 50-day, so a little bit more weakness here. And it's the same thing. We really need to get above this consolidation zone. If we can, then we have the 100-day at $15, and we'll have to see how that responds, because we also have this kind of consolidation zone, which is where the 100-day is. And so if we break above this consolidation zone, then we do have a lot of resistance around $15 after we break above 1450. So this kind of area is going to be a problem, but if we get enough volume, we could see it break out. Next, let's go ahead and cover Chargepoint. So Chargepoint stock, I really like long term, even though I think their valuation is a little high for their revenue growth that they're seeing right now for the company. It's slowed down a little bit, but they have made some acquisitions, which are always good to see to grow that revenue internationally, especially. But here we definitely see it come back into this, it bounced off this kind of lower end consolidation zone. I mean, all these charts are similar. We're seeing descending triangles. We're seeing these continuously bounce off these support zones where it seems like institutions buy up shares. Every time it dips down here, you see big buys by institutions for all the stocks we've talked about. But overall speaking, we're still in these descending triangles, these long-term descending triangles. And so if we do see some more strength here, we have this trend line, and then maybe into here or something, we might see a lower high on the long-term perspective. But we're still below the 20 EMA. We are getting closer to it. We really do need a breakout above this zone. Kind of like for SOFI, we have a lot of candles here that are going to cause a big problem. So we're going to want to see this push above 2260. We actually talked about this last night on the live stream. So as I mentioned, you need to really come to the live streams because we have a lot of good info there. But yeah, I really want to see it break above that consolidation zone, and maybe it might pop there, but we do have kind of this downward trend. So we'll have to see how it responds. RSI, pretty low still. It's in this, this consolidation zone down here, or not consolidation zone, but this downward momentum zone here under 50. And we're seeing MACD settle down quite a bit, not do much, kind of just move sideways. So we're really going to need big volume back at, like 10 million volume might be able to push us higher and back to the 20 EMA. On the 4 hour, we are still under the 20 EMA and under 50, so kind of same look as the hourly or the daily chart. And the 20 EMA is pretty close, again, around that kind of consolidation zone down here. It really needs a breakout if we are going to see more upside. On the hourly, we are above the 20 EMA, which is positive. We're right on the edge of breaking out here, which would be big. And then we have this consolidation zone here, which is resistance at 2275. So those are what we're going to see for that. When we go on the EMAs, let's just work. I actually like to work big picture down. So we're going to quickly go through this because I want to hit one more stock. So we're there, and we have the 50-day and the 100-day within this within the zone of 25 and 2650. So if we can break the 20 EMA, come back, we might be able to hit 25. If we do break 25, then this zone is going to be a pretty big deal. Kind of similar to SOFI. We just have so much back and forth here, which means there's a lot of supply, which is going to make the stock really hard to break out above that zone unless we see really high volume come in. 4 hour, we're seeing these still have a downturn to them, so that's still speaking to negativity on this. But again, big volume can push us higher into those EMAs at the max. I really don't see this going higher than 26, 27. Unless we get really big volume, we could push to 28, but that's probably going to be my high, honestly. And we go to the daily, 28, yeah, EMAs, I think the 200-day might be up there, around 28, if I remember correctly. On the daily, we are above the 20, but not above, this is kind of similar to SOFI chart, but not above the 100-day. So we're going to want to look out for a breakout and maybe a test of this 100-day around 23. So last, let's go ahead and get to NNDM before my 15-minute video comes to a close. NNDM definitely showing some positivity on that's the hourly chart. I'm just going to go daily for this. On the daily chart, we're still under 50, so nothing positive speaking there. On the hourly, we are seeing it try to break out. If it breaks out tomorrow, that's going to be really bullish, but we are seeing this already get overbought here a little bit, or close to overbought, so we're going to need probably a bigger pullback before we go higher on that, just to settle down the RSI on the hourly chart. On the 4 hour, we're testing the 20 EMA, and it's trying to break out both on the RSI and the 20 EMA, so watch for that. We're testing these trend lines, which is a big deal. If we break that, we could head back up to $7 range. That's all I have for you guys. I had to go through that one quickly because I need to end the video, but I hope you liked it. I hope you got something substantial out of that. And I'll make another video soon, so come back to the channel.